What are the moments that made Michael Jordan the GOAT? What are the specific moments in NBA history that made you sit back and say, yep, this is the guy? 23 will always be widely considered the GOAT to most basketball fans. Not just because of his accomplishments and not just because of his stats, but there were moments in his career that made him look almost superhuman. These are the exact moments that crowned Michael Jordan as the GOAT, in my opinion. And feel free to put down in the comments the moment that made you believe that Michael Jordan was the GOAT. During the early part of his career, the Bad Boy Pistons was Michael Jordan's biggest obstacle. They were loaded with talented players like Isaiah Thomas, Bill Laimbeer, Joe Dumars, and Dennis Rodman. During the mid to late 80s, they were making a real run at becoming one of the best teams in the East, but often meeting roadblocks in the form of the Boston Celtics, the LA Lakers, and the Atlanta Hawks. But the Pistons would try a new strategy, the 94-feet defense that would literally change their team overnight. Their goal was a physical style of play, hard fouls, intense pressure, and baiting their opponents into fights that would throw them off their game. They won back-to-back championships in 89 and 90, and they seemed almost unstoppable. With their bruising physicality and the implementation of the Jordan rules, this was the ultimate test of Michael Jordan's toughness, both physically and mentally. The Bad Boy Pistons were brutal, nasty, and cheap shot artists. They had absolutely no issue with sending anybody to the hospital. They wanted to win by any means necessary, and if you were standing in their way, good luck to you. They blocked Michael Jordan's path to the championship year after year, forcing him to confront his limitations and evolve. He dedicated himself to ramping up his weight training and improve his endurance to withstand the pounding. In 1991, Jordan and the Chicago Bulls would finally get their revenge, sweeping the Pistons in the Eastern Conference Finals. The Pistons were so upset that they just walked off the court without congratulating the Bulls on the win. Jordan averaged 30 points, 7 assists, 5 rebounds during that series, eventually winning his first championship that season. This was officially the end of the Bad Boy Pistons era. Goliath was finally dead. Jordan had conquered his greatest obstacle. He didn't cry about it. He didn't make excuses for the losses. He took it personally and slayed the most hated team in NBA history. This is the stuff that GOATs do. In October 1993, Michael Jordan retired from the NBA. He left the NBA signing a minor league contract with the Chicago White Sox. The greatest athlete the world has ever seen was leaving basketball to follow his passion of playing baseball in honor of his father. The world was devastated by the news. Michael Jordan was in the prime of his career, just coming back off a three-peat with the Chicago Bulls, and all of a sudden he's retiring out of nowhere. But this was good news to many players in the NBA. Finally, there was no more Michael Jordan. The one guy who was the gatekeeper of the Larry O'Brien Trophy was finally leaving his post, allowing other teams to finally have a shot at winning the NBA Finals. Many teams stepped up to the challenge, but it was the Houston Rockets who would take full advantage of Michael Jordan's absence, winning back-to-back championships. But then out of nowhere, Jordan started practicing with NBA players again, causing a big, huge buzz around the league. Is he or is he not going to return to the NBA? In March 1995, 23 will return to the NBA with the most iconic facts in history, reading, "I'm back." Now, I'm not sure if it's possible for me to truly explain how massive this moment was in NBA history without making this video 5 minutes longer. But just know this was a really huge moment at the time. Returning in the 45 jersey, MJ would have a slow start. He ended up losing in the playoffs that season and not totally looking like himself. But boy, what an offseason does for a guy like Michael Jordan. The next season, Jordan was back like he never left. Returning to 23, leading the Bulls to the best regular season record ever at the time, winning MVP, Finals MVP, becoming scoring champion, and winning his 4th NBA championship. There's no player in sports history that I can remember that was able to leave their sport, come back, and dominate it like they was in their prime. It just doesn't happen. Athletes fall off a bit after they leave their sport, which makes his comeback legendary and almost unreal. In 1998, the Bulls were looking to complete their second three-peat versus the Jazz. No player in the history of the NBA has ever won 3 straight NBA championships twice. It's hard enough to win 1 3-peat, but 2 is insane. The past decade has been filled with memorable moments from MJ that will help cement his legacy as the greatest ever. The shrug in 1992. After hitting 6 straight three-pointers in the first half versus the Blazers in the NBA Finals, he showcased his dominance with a playful shrug that let everybody know, I'm that guy. The double nickel game in 1995. Shortly after MJ returning from retirement, Jordan dropped 55 points on the New York Knicks in Madison Square Garden, reminding everyone he is still the best player in the world and no one can check him. The flu game in 1997. After battling a severe illness, Jordan still showed up to Game 5 to take care of business. He scored 38 points, cementing his legend of toughness. And back then, 38 points was hard to get. It's not like it is now. Now, we at the critical moment on Sunday, June 14th, 1998. Game 6 in the NBA Finals. One of the most iconic games in NBA history. Scottie Pippen had been having severe back problems during the playoffs. He was in great pain and could barely move during the game. It was crucial that Jordan and the Bulls close out the series in Game 6. Pippen's injury made his availability unknown for the rest of the series. In Game 7 would be played in Utah. That's back-to-back away games for Game 6 and 7 for the Bulls. Jordan only rested 4 minutes during the entire game. This is Game 6 versus one of the most competitive teams in NBA history, the Karl Malone and John Stockton Utah Jazz. And Jordan had the responsibility to win this game by any means necessary while playing completely exhausted. Jordan put up 45 of the 87 points the Bulls scored. Down by 1 with the game on the line, this happened.
Jordan with 43. Malone is doubled. They swat at it and steal it. Here comes Chicago. 17 seconds. 17 seconds from Game 7 or from championship number 6. Jordan open. Chicago with the lead. Timeout, Utah.
I dare you to name a more iconic moment in NBA history. Jordan battled through fatigue, his best teammate basically unable to contribute, and won his 6th NBA title, closing his 2nd three-peat and never wearing a Bulls jersey ever again. There has never been a more impactful, loved, and dominant player in the history of sports than Michael Jeffrey Jordan. Players like Bill Russell, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and LeBron James deserve a massive amount of credit for what they've done for the sport of basketball. But 23 is different. The stories that he told, the moments that he created, will always go down in history as some of the greatest moments in sports history. There is no doubt that Michael Jordan is the greatest of all time. So let me know what you think. Am I off or am I on? Anyway, that's my time. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Peace.